You wake up, you check your banking app, and nothing. It's the exact same boring number it was last week, maybe slightly lower because, life happened. Your car needed brakes, so your dog ate a sock. Most people think getting rich is a straight line. They think it's like building a brick wall. 1 brick, 2 bricks, 3 bricks. You trade time for dollars, you stack the dollars in a neat little pile, and eventually, somehow, you have a giant mountain of money. But the math proves it is actually explosive. It's not a straight line at all. It's a hockey stick, and the game is completely rigged to keep you blind to that fact. See, there are invisible tripwires in the financial system, milestones that once you cross them, physically alter how money behaves. The rules you learned about saving from your parents or your broke high school teacher, they just stop applying. I remember staring at my own negative net worth years ago, feeling completely suffocated. I'm Heisenbank, by the way, and I run Breaking Finance because I got so incredibly sick of the garbage lies we are fed about getting ahead. We are told to just work harder, to skip the avocado toast. Right, like a $6 coffee is what's keeping you from a beachfront mansion and early retirement. It's insulting. So today, we are ripping the Band-Aid off. We are going to look at the 3 specific net worth milestones that actually matter, the exact mathematical points where your financial reality fractures and reassembles itself into something unrecognizable. Once you truly understand these 3 numbers, you stop playing the game just to survive the month. You start playing to conquer. Charlie Munger famously said it years ago. The first $100,000 is he used a word I probably shouldn't scream into a microphone, but he meant it is a complete and total nightmare. And he was right, because when you start from absolute zero, you have zero leverage. You have nothing working for you except your own raw, exhausting labor. You are pushing a massive boulder up a 90-degree cliff face. Let's look at the brutal math. Say you manage to save $10,000 a year. That's incredibly hard to do, right? With rent and inflation breathing down your neck every single day. But you do it. You put it in a boring index fund. You get an 8% return. Year 1, your investments make you $800. Wow, $800. Barely enough to cover a minor dental emergency or a set of new tires. It feels pathetic. It feels like the sacrifice isn't even worth it. Your brain, which is hardwired for instant dopamine hits, starts screaming at you. Why are we eating cheap chicken and rice, man? Let's just go buy a nice watch. Let's go to Vegas. This is exactly where 90% of people quit. Because the human brain simply cannot comprehend exponential growth. We just aren't evolved for it. We understand linear progress. I pick 10 berries, I eat 10 berries. I work an hour, I get $20. But to get to $100,000, it takes about 7.5 years of saving $10,000 a year at that 8% return. And over those 7 long, agonizing years, the vast majority of that $100,000 came directly from your own sweat, your own deposits from your day job. The stock market barely helped you at all. But getting from 0 to 100,000, that fundamentally changes you as a human. Psychologically, you prove to yourself that you are actually capable of delayed gratification. You build the callus. And mathematically, this is where the engine finally turns over. Because what happens after $100,000? We hit milestone 2. And honestly, this is the most shocking math in the entire wealth-building journey. It's what I call the gravity flip, or the crossover point. Most people obsess over becoming a millionaire, but that is just a vanity metric to flex on Instagram. The actual milestone that breaks the matrix is the exact moment your money starts making more money than you can save. Listen to this very carefully. Let's go back to our example. You have $100,000 invested. You are still aggressively saving your $10,000 a year. The market returns its historical 8%. In the next 12 months, your portfolio generates $8,000 in pure growth. Wait, you only contributed $10,000. But your money just did almost as much heavy lifting as you did. Your money just worked a second job for you, tax-free, without needing a smoke break, without complaining to HR. And just a few short years later, when your portfolio hits roughly $130,000, an 8% return equals $10,400. Boom, right there. That specific day. That is the exact second your life changes forever. Your portfolio is now putting more money into your net worth than your actual flesh and blood job is contributing. The snowball is finally rolling down the hill entirely on its own. You are no longer pushing it. You are just steering it. Remember, it took you 7.5 years of grinding to get the first 100,000. The next 100,000 takes 5 years. The next takes 3.5. By the time you hit $500,000, an 8% return is throwing $40,000 a year onto your pile without you lifting a single finger. Your money is out there in the global economy, building bridges, writing software algorithms, selling phones, and bringing the profits straight back to your pocket. And look, before we hit the final, arguably most dangerous psychological milestone, if this brutal math is actually making sense to you, if it's rewiring how you look at that boring bank app on a Tuesday morning, just hit the subscribe button. I don't sell get-rich-quick courses. I don't want your money. I just want to build an army of people who actually understand how the financial game is played. So subscribe, join the Breaking Finance community, and let's keep going. But right when you hit that crossover point, right when you start feeling good, the system sets a trap for you. Let's talk about the trap that catches people right between Milestone 1 and Milestone 2. The invisible tax of the upgrade. Lifestyle creep. Because as your net worth creeps up toward that $500,000 mark, your brain starts playing dirty tricks on you. You get a promotion at work. You think, hey, I've been good. I've been eating the cheap pasta for years. I deserve the nicer car. I deserve the luxury apartment downtown. So you lease the BMW. Your annual burn rate goes from $40,000 a year to $55,000 a year. Do you know what you just did? You didn't just spend $15,000. Mathematically, you just moved your own finish line further away. Remember the 4% rule? The rule of thumb that says you need 25 times your annual expenses invested to retire? If you need $40,000 a year to live, your ultimate freedom target is $1 million. But if you inflate your lifestyle to $55,000 a year, your new target is $1.375 million. By buying that car to impress people sitting next to you in traffic, you just forced yourself to grind out another $375,000 in pure wealth just to maintain your new bloated baseline. You literally added half a decade to your working life for heated leather seats. That is the brutal math of lifestyle creep. It's a treadmill that speeds up every single time you try to rest. And then there's the psychological weirdness of watching the numbers actually get big. When you have $10,000 invested, a 20% market crash wipes out $2,000. It sucks, sure, but you can outsave it. You can work a few overtime shifts, hustle a bit on the weekends, and make that $2,000 back. You still feel completely in control of the ship. But when you have $800,000, a 20% correction vaporizes $160,000. $160,000. Gone. Evaporated into the digital ether in a week. That is more than you make in 2, maybe 3 entire years of working your soul-crushing job. And you just watched it disappear on a Thursday morning while you were drinking your coffee in the break room. This is exactly where the psychology of wealth completely breaks people. They panic. They sell at the absolute bottom because their lizard brain is screaming that a tiger is attacking them. They turn a temporary on-paper dip into a permanent, catastrophic, life-altering loss. To survive the space between Milestone 2 and Milestone 3, you have to develop a terrifying level of emotional numbness. You have to be able to look at a $100,000 loss on a glowing screen and feel absolutely nothing. You have to forcefully divorce your self-worth from your net worth. So, you crossed 100,000. You survived the crossover point where your money outworks your salary. You avoided the shiny BMW trap. You didn't panic sell during the recession. What is Milestone 3? It's the threshold of absolute behavioral freedom. F you money. And no, it is not $1 million. I mean, $1 million is cool, it sounds great at cocktail parties, but depending on where you live, $1 million might just mean you own a very average, leaky 3-bedroom house in California and drive a used Honda Civic. The third milestone is entirely personal. It is the exact mathematical moment your passive yield permanently exceeds your annual burn rate. Let's do the brutal math one last time. Say your life costs $60,000 a year to run. Rent, food, insurance, a little bit of fun, paying the internet bill, $60,000. If we use that classic 4% rule, meaning you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio every single year indefinitely without running out of money, you need exactly $1.5 million. $1.5 million times 4% is $60,000. When you hit $1.5 million, you are economically immortal. Let that sink in for a second. Economically immortal. You could literally stop working right now, sit on a beach in Mexico, stare at a brick wall all day, and you would never run out of money. The system has completely inverted on itself. You started as a slave to the wage, now capital is your slave. But here is the psychological trap no one warns you about. When people hit this third milestone, something genuinely terrifying happens. They freak out. Because for 10, 20, maybe 30 long years, your entire identity was tied directly to the struggle, the grind. You woke up early, you tracked your pennies on a spreadsheet, you optimized your taxes, you read the finance books. You were a warrior fighting the system. And then you win. You check the account. The math says $1.5 million. And nothing happens. The sky doesn't open up. An angel doesn't descend from the clouds with a giant golden trophy. Your boss doesn't call to congratulate you. You just have to figure out what you were going to have for lunch. I've talked to guys who hit this exact number and they completely spiral into depression because they never actually figured out what they were retiring to, only what they were retiring from. They wanted to escape the bad boss, the annoying alarm clock, the 2-hour commute in gridlock traffic. But once those things are gone, you are left with yourself, a very quiet, very empty Tuesday afternoon. If you do not build a life, a hobby, a passion project, or a real community while you are busy building that wealth, Milestone 3 will absolutely destroy you emotionally. Money is just a magnifying glass. It just makes you more of what you already are deep down. If you are a miserable person who is obsessed with the grind, being rich just makes you a miserable person with a lot of free time. So what do we actually do with this? We stop treating money like a high score in a video game. It's not a measure of your worth as a human being. It is literally just stored energy. That's it. It's batteries for your life. You push through the agonizing $100,000 slog. You force it. You let the math take over at the crossover point and let compounding do the heavy lifting. And you aim for that deeply personal freedom number so you can finally buy back the only asset on this planet that actually matters. Time. Because you can always make another dollar, but you cannot make another minute. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Don't wait until you hit milestone 3 to start living. Use the milestones to buy the freedom to live exactly how you want today. I am Hazenbank. See you on the next one.